Showtime! The Capital G Show starts right now.
Censorship in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game isn't new. In fact, it goes all the way back to the very first core booster set, Legends of Blue Eyes White Dragon. It happens in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, the manga, and even in Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games. For some reason, in the West, Konami has always been far more strict when it comes to the children's card game overtone and branding for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of this, hundreds of cards in the TCG have been censored over the years for various reasons. Sometimes those reasons are understandable, but sometimes they're downright ridiculous. In this video, I'll be covering, to my knowledge, the single most censored card in the history of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. I'll compare the OCG original artwork to what we received in the TCG, point out all the differences, and explain every single change that was implemented. But before I do that, if you enjoy videos like this where I break down interesting fun facts of cards, let me know by leaving a comment or by giving the video a thumbs up to show you enjoyed it. Also, consider checking out my top 10 video where I compiled the most drastically changed Yu-Gi-Oh! Card arts due to censorship, which will be in the description of this video. Anyways, let's begin. Spicy Spy was released in the core booster set Duelist Alliance, an amazing set that some like myself argue is the greatest set in Yu-Gi-Oh! History. Premiering 4 meta-ready archetypes and tons of competitive level cards, it was the real deal. Sadly, Spicy Spy was not one of them. In fact, it's one of the most forgettable cards in the entire set. To that point, I actually had to re-look up the card when making this video because I had completely forgotten what Spicy Spy even did. In the name of being thorough, Spicy Spy is a level 3 fire warrior monster with 1200 attack and 1300 defense. Its effect states if this card is normal summon, look at one random card in your opponent's extra deck. If it has 2000 or more attack, this card gains 1000 attack. If it has less than 2000 attack, you gain life points equal to that monster's attack. As I alluded to earlier, not very impressive and pretty forgettable. In fact, you can make the argument that even Konami has forgotten about the card as it never received a reprint. The effect isn't very powerful, only works when normal summoned, and it's completely RNG, meaning you have no control over which effect you actually get. Heck, if you get the life point gain effect, the amount of life points you gain is also out of your control. In competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! You always want to be able to rely on your monster effects, so luck-based ones involving dies or coins are seldomly played. Spicy Spy is like one of those type of cards times 2 in terms of randomness. For all of these reasons and more, I've actually never seen the card used in any Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. But as terrible as Spicy Spy is as a competitively viable option, there is something profoundly interesting about the card, and that's the absurd levels of censorship in the artwork. Here's the original OCG printing of Spicy Spy from the same exact booster set. Some of the drastic differences should be immediately evident, but if you want to challenge yourself, go ahead and pause the video right now and see how many differences you can find between the two versions. For those who were up for the challenge, time's up. Hope you got them all because now I'm gonna break them down. Let's start with the obvious stuff. In the TCG version, the gentleman's cigar has been removed. Konami generally does not allow tobacco products or cigarettes to be featured in any of its Western Yu-Gi-Oh! Properties. Use of tobacco products can affect your ESRB rating and how your property is classified. Even some of the most popular IPs on the planet will sway away from showing tobacco products for this reason from time to time. An infamous example is the champion Graves from the popular MOBA video game League of Legends. Graves' original splash art featured his trademark cigar but was eventually removed by creator Riot Games. After many years of fan complaints, Riot eventually added it back. Next up, 3 forms of alcohol were either removed or replaced in the TCG artwork. The easiest to spot is the wine glass in the gentleman's hand. It's just been completely removed. The next is the wine bottle on the right table right behind the young lady in the red dress. In the TCG version of the card, it's been changed to a bottle filled with orange liquid and the label has been removed. This was done to make the liquid appear to be juice or maybe some type of orange soda. Lastly, and my personal favorite, favorites, and this one can be actually very difficult to spot. The second bottle on the table near the left edge of the card art has been removed and replaced with a plate of food. This plate appears to be featuring some salad, potatoes, and possibly a meat dish. I'll give Konami credit here. They went into a lot of detail for something that a lot of people might not even notice. Alcohol is treated similarly to tobacco by organizations like the ESRB and the FCC, so Konami tends to remove any forms of alcohol in Western Yu-Gi-Oh! Moving along, numerous clothing and body changes were made to the TCG version of Spicy Spy. For one, our spy's red dress was lengthened to completely cover up her leg. I'm not sure if this was really necessary, but Konami must have deemed this too provocative and thus inappropriate for children. Her bust size was also reduced. We've seen this done on some of Yu-Gi-Oh's most famous cards. Dark Magician Girl is probably the most notable, so this happens all the time in the TCG. We got a little more dress when it comes to the women in green. As I just mentioned, Konami acknowledges that females have breasts, but when it comes to card art, they want them to have as little attention as possible. This means covering them up and even reducing the size at almost every opportunity. Lastly, let's talk about those hard eyes on one of the guys in the back of the room. For the TCG version, they were replaced with more anime style eyes that implies he's tired or, depending on how you interpret it, possibly drunk, which would actually be ironic considering the other censorships they made. Konami censored his eyes to remove any implications of lust or sexual feelings towards the spy in the red dress. While this may seem excessive at first, it does at least make some sense. That is, unless you know about the card Die Dance from the core booster set Extreme Force, which one could argue has similar romantic implications. The hearts on that card, implying love or romance for the TCG version, weren't censored at all. The last couple of differences between the two versions aren't actually censorship per se, but they did result from it. First is the size of the gentleman's mustache. It was increased in the TCG to have the artwork itself make sense, as the gentleman can be seen whirling his mustache in a carefree manner. They also have his teeth showing in the TCG version to further double down on his carefree demeanor. So in total, I count a whopping 10 changes from the OCG original art to the heavily censored TCG version of the card, which is pretty remarkable in my opinion. Most of the time when a Yu-Gi-Oh card gets censored for violence, weapons, nudity, religious overtones, etc., it's just for one major reason. But with Spicy Spy, we got the full-on trifecta. To be honest, I'm actually quite shocked Konami didn't just do what they've done in the past a few times and give the TCG a completely original artwork like in cases of Fiend Comedian or Last Day of Witch. This might have actually just been easier and a lot less work. I'd also like to point out at this time, not only is there a little Yu-Gi-Oh Easter egg in the artwork of Spicy Spy, but after doing a little research on the card, there's actually an unbelievable true story with one of the characters featured in the card art. First up is the Easter egg. Our lovely spy in the red dress can be seen holding a boat of what looks like either hot gravy or curry, depending on what region of the world you're in. Well, it turns out not only is it in fact curry, but it's actually the same curry from the spell card Muyan Curry. Muyan Curry is a spell card that gives you the ability to give either player a whole 200 life points. It's bizarrely weak, especially considering it was released in the World Championship 2010 card pack. Based on its effect, you would maybe assume that it was released in Metal Raiders or a booster set from around that time. Now to the interesting story. According to my research, the Spicy Spy card, and more particularly, the female spy in the red dress, is actually based on a real person. Amy Elizabeth Thorpe, codenamed Cynthia, was an American spy during World War II. She worked for Britain's Secret Intelligence Service MI6 organization. Yes, the same MI6 from the James Bond movies. Apparently it's a real thing. Thorpe helped the Allied forces obtain intelligence documents by having relations with foreign diplomats. She cracked safes, stole documents in Prague, and was considered vital to the success of the Allied forces, especially with the intel she gathered that directly led to the decryption of the German Enigma machine. Upon her passing, she was even compared to James Bond by Time magazine in 1962. So there you go, a little bit of history to go with your card censorship. My final takeaway is, despite Spicy Spy being an unglamorous, mediocre card that no one ever played, there was a fascinating story here. Between all the hoops hoops Konami jumped through with card censorship, and the incredible story of the real-life spy Amy Thorpe, who the card was based on, it kind of goes to show you that there's a little more than meets the eye with every Yu-Gi-Oh card. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and the break away from my normal content. If you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, just let me know in the comment section below, or by giving this video a big thumbs up. I actually have ideas for more videos like this, and I'm sure that there are a lot of amazing stories behind a lot of these cards. I just have to be willing to do the research to kind of dig those stories up. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos. Subscribing makes life happy.